Assalamu alaikum and a very good afternoon, dear students. So, as the previous lecture, we discussed about the elements of drama, the history of English drama, and the definitions. A few of the definitions we discussed about, and later we discussed about the Elizabethan era and the Restoration period, and many other things. Now, here we are going to discuss some of the points. So, here is the first is modern drama or the theatre. The modern theatre, with its picture frame stage, its actress taking female parts, its movable scenery designed to create a visual image of the local of each scene, and its artificial lights, was developed during the Restoration period. There is clear influence of France on theatre and the audience and the themes. Now, basically, what it says that there was a clear influence of France on the theatre. Okay, and now it started working with the movable scenery or the designed kind of visual images, and the different scenes were used, the artificial lights and everything. Then the drama of the early 19th century was on the whole on the way to decline for many reasons. Now in the 19th century, the whole theme of drama and everything, it was all about to decline. There were many reasons of that. The theatre was home mainly to irregular spectacle, melodrama, and farce. A simple external reason can be found in the monopoly held by the two houses, Convent Garden and Drury Lane, for the performance of serious drama. The audiences which gathered to be 19th century theatre had not intelligence or imagination of Elizabethan audience. Now in the modern time, as the people of Elizabethan era, they were having the intelligence, they were having the imagination, power, and everything. Now as the time passes, the people were not having that kind of intelligence in them, and that kind of imagination power as the people were having in the Elizabethan period. So that was also a very important reason. The danger in the 19th century theatre was that above all it was unrelated to life of the time. And basically what happens, the things whatever happening in our surrounding, if we link our stories or things or the drama with that, so people can relate more with that, right? And they will enjoy seeing those things. But that was not something like that, and that's why it was in danger, that there was nothing that people could relate with their time. The changes in the structure of society had so modified the human personality itself that a new interpretation was essential. Ibsen, the great Norwegian dramatist of the 19th century, dominates the realistic drama. He developed modernist, realist, social, and psychological dramas, The Doll's House, Ghost, and Enemy of the People. So here are some of the great work of a great dramatist, as you can see. They are far more subtle and great in stagecraft and profound in thought than anything in the modern English theatre. But it was only George Bernard Shaw who was deeply influenced and affected by Ibsen's innovative contributions and experimentation. He was the most brilliant playwright of his time. So basically, he has been called as a brilliant playwright of his time. He alone had understood the greatness of Ibsen. So basically, George Bernard Shaw realized the importance of his writing, of Ibsen's writing. And then the responsibility of elevation of the English drama to the brilliance of a Norwegian fell with Oscar Wilde and G.B. Shaw in the late 19th and early 20th century. The 20th century showed talent in the drama with which the 19th century could not compete. Now the 20th century, the talent that had shown, it cannot compete with the 19th century. Granville Barker, John Galsworthy, St. John Erwin were some of the playwrights who explored contemporary problems. St. John Erwin had been associated with a group of Irish dramatists whose work was normally produced in the Abbey Theatre in Dublin. Much that is best in the modern drama in English developed from this movement. One of its originators was Lady Gregory with W.B. Yeats and J.M. Synge. They were the most important dramatists of the Irish revival who used a sense of tragic irony, a violent species of humor, and a rich and highly flavored language. There are some of the names mentioned who used the amazing themes for the drama, like tragic irony or the violent species of humor, and that was the rich and highly flavored languages they used. T.S. Eliot experimented with Greek tragedy in the early 40s of 20th century. Other dramatist of the modern era, John Osborne, wrote on people who grew up after the Second World War. Kingsley Amis wrote about frustrated anti-establishment young people. Osborne's look back in anger brought a new vitality to theatre scene. It was more a cultural phenomena than the work of literature. After that, people started, whatever they were producing, had assets about the Osborne and about the Kingsley Amis. They wrote many great dramas, and the Osbornes look back in anger that brought a new kind of change or vitality into the theater scene. And it was not just the work of literature, it brought some cultural phenomena in that. Other important playwrights of the modern era include Anton Chekhov, Bertolt Brecht, Eugene O'Neill, Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, Eugene Ionesco, Samuel Beckett, and Harold Pinter. Now, Indian drama. Earliest seeds of modern Indian drama can be found in the Sanskrit drama from the 1st century AD, that is Mahabharata. By Patanjali provides a feasible date for the beginning of theatre in India. The major source of evidence is a treatise of theatre on theatre, Natya Shastra, by Bharat Muni, is the most complete work of dramatology in the ancient world. It gives mythological account of the origin of theatre. Modern Indian drama, however, has influences from all over the world as well as Sanskrit and Urdu traditions. So that was the history of Indian drama, that it started. The earliest seeds was started in the modern Indian drama, that was found in Sanskrit drama from the Mahabharata, which was by Patanjali, that provided the beginning date of the theatre in India. And then the major source of that was a treatise on theatre that played important role, that have been called as a Natya Shastra, which was written by Bharat Muni. That was the complete dramatology work it was in the ancient world, and it gave the mythological account of the origin of theatre in India. Now there is a history of India, as we discussed, there is a periods in history, types of plays and classic plays. So basically there are 3 columns, as we can see. In one, there is a periods in history: medieval period, Renaissance period, Restoration period, Victorian period, and modern period and post-modern era. So in the another column, there is types of plays. So basically what is discussed here, that in which that in a different periods, which kind of plays have been played. Okay, and that's what the whole thing is. So there is didactic plays. In the first, we'll see medieval period is there first, which was from 11th to 15th century. That was the reign of Henry IV. Reign means basically the rule, okay, or the person whoever was ruling over there. So in that period, which kind of plays were there? Didactic plays, mystery plays, miracle plays, cycle plays, morality plays. And the classics plays that we'll see: Robin Hood by Howard Pyle and Everyman, etc. Now Renaissance period, 1600 to 1700, reign of Elizabeth and James I. There was tragic comedy, melancholy, revenge plays, and Romeo and Juliet. Now A Midsummer Night's Dream was also written, Henry IV, that was historical and by Shakespeare. Dr. Faustus and Jew of Malta by Christopher Marlowe. There was Duchess of Malfi by John Webster. There was the Changeling of the Thomas Middleton. Then the third period is Restoration period, that was from 1660 onwards. There was a reign of Charles II. There was heroic drama, pathetic drama, Restoration comedy. And what the famous work were All for Love, tragedy that was written by John Dryden. Then The Way of the World, that was a comedy basically, and that was written by William Congreve. Then there was Victorian period, 1837 to 1901. There was a reign of Queen Victoria, and there was all types of plays were performed. And then The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. And then Candia by G.B. Shaw. Then A Doll's House, okay, An Enemy of the People, that both were written by Henrik Ibsen. Then modern period, that is 1901 to 1945. There was Stream of Consciousness, then absurd plays, poetic drama, radio drama, and Pygmalion was famous by which was written by G.B. Shah. Then Murder in the Cathedral, that was a poetic drama basically written by T.S. Eliot. Then last, that we are going to discuss is postmodern era, 1945 to 2000. So almost all types of dramas were performed. Kitchen sink drama, Look Back in Anger by John Osborne, Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. About one act play. The revised course book for Standard 11 focus on language and literature. Students should be able to enjoy, appreciate and digest the various forms of literature. Literature provides a gateway to express emotions. This is a paradigm shift from studying general extracts of literature to understanding a specific genre of literature. With this intention, a one-act play as a genre has been selected for closely study 11. Now, basically, what's the intention of putting drama in your textbook is like so that you can have some good time to study, or you can enjoy reading the things and the drama. So basically, with that purpose, a one-act play is not exactly a shortened play. It is a complete story that has to be performed on the stage in stipulated time. Now, we are going to study one-act plays in basically 11th standard. Basically, what's there? One-act plays are there. Okay, so if we talk about one-act play, it doesn't mean the shortened plays. There will be the complete story, okay, which will going to be performed on the stage in a particular given time. It has its own features, characteristics. The action is confined to a single place and number of characters is limited. Now it will be performed at a one single place, okay, and the characters will be limited. Simplicity of design and quick effect are its features. The prescribed one-act play will help the learners to understand the following features. Now, what are the features of it? That's what we will see. Plot. The plot of a one-act play is limited to a single interesting episode. So, it will be limited to one interesting episode. Okay. The plot of any piece of literature is a story that has been woven into a closely related chain of events arranged in sequence. It is said that conflict is the soul of a drama. As we previously discussed, we usually have conflict in a play, but modern plays of the theatre of the absurd are an exception to it. Now, the theme. A theme is the central idea around which a plot revolves, as we know, we discussed in the beginning. It is directly stated through the playwright's instructions, dialogue, and other features. It focuses on the subject of the play. It can be implicit or explicit. There can be a number of sub-themes that portray human life. The theme helps to convey the message of the playwright. So, whatever the drama has been written, the theme we need to understand that with which subject the writer has written or the dramatist has written the drama or the story. Now, setting or location is a place where the story occurs. A drama is meant for stage performance. The location or setting is revealed through effective use of variety of props. The unit of time, place and action has to be taken into consideration while setting the stage. The proper use of setting props helps the play to be impactful. Now, as to show the different scenes, to show the different places, people use the props to show the beautiful vibes and scenes. Now, the language. We all know that the pen is mightier than the sword. Likewise, words are the weapons of a writer. As we usually discuss or we usually say that pen is mightier than the sword, right? So, in that same sense, what it's talking over here, words are weapons of a writer. Obviously, they can use as their weapons through their writing. There is another language too. Have you enjoyed films Charlie Chaplin, who uses non-verbal communication very effectively through his body? Now, what it says here, that there is another language also, which was used by Charlie Chaplin. The films of Charlie Chaplin, if you have seen, you must have seen that there was non-verbal communication. Without even speaking even a single word, he presented lots of things and people loved watching him, right? It conveys emotions and underlying meanings profoundly. One-act play has a profound effect due to its brevity of words. It dialogues If the dialogues are witty, pungent, and concise, they add to the overall impact of the play. Example, Shakespeare's Hamlet, or says to be or not to be. The dialogues of the playwright use techniques like projections, articulation, and phrasing for effective communication. Poetic devices and figures of speech like imagery, symbolism, personification, and humor embedded in wit, pun, irony, and paradox make the dialogues extremely powerful. The tone of the dialogue can be comic, ironic, light, playful, sad, serious, sinister, solemn, and sober, and threatening, etc. Characters. There are a limited number of characters in one act plays. There are two types of characters, main and supporting. Okay. E.M. Foster, in his aspects of the novel, divides characters into two types: round, the one that develops throughout the experiences and evolves as a dynamic persona, and a flat character is one who remains the same throughout the story. Now, round is the one who changes by the time, and who learns through the situations, and who builds, who develops by the time. But the flat characters are the one who remains the same till the end. Okay. And then caricatures and recognized only through the characteristic. The story revolves around the main character or characters who face a dilemma or conflict. Now, some features: it has one or more scenes, it is concise in manner, it has single dominant theme which produces singular effect, it treats problems of everyday life, it has a beginning, a middle, and end. The stages are as follows: there will be exposition, conflict, climax, and denouement. Is brief, introductory, conflict is development of drama, it is a backbone, climax is the turning point, an important part, and denouement is brief, often, or overlaps climax. It gives introduction of a stage, it creates mood or atmosphere, it has unity of time, place, and action, it has simplicity of plot, concentration of action, and unity of impression. It has limited characters, it presents a question, answers of which are eagerly awaited by audience. So I hope you must have understood this much. Thank you very much.